Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here. We are going to be covering new additions in basically aircraft carriers. A lot has been changed and a lot has been added. What we're looking at right now is the cream of the crop so far for Japanese aircraft carriers, of which I believe that there's 7 that have been added. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are only 5 right now. But the top tier right now is tier 8 Shokaku, right? So there's no tier 9 or tier 10 right now. Also, you may notice that there is no Shinano. So there's no Japanese aircraft carrier based off of the Yamato battleship hull, which would be kind of cool, but we might see it in the future. But right now, we're going to look at the Shokaku, right? So, geez, man. There's just so much going on. I think generally Japanese aircraft carriers are going to be faster because they're slimmer than American carriers. Also, I don't know how this is going to play in, but Japanese carriers had wooden flight decks. Some of the other navies, like the Royal Navy, used armored flight decks. I'm not really sure if that's going to be kind of put into the game at some point. Obviously, when you get closer to the nations that use the armored flight decks, we'll see stuff like that. But, yeah, so overall, and I think that the Japanese are going to still have better torpedoes than the American carriers, so I feel like Japanese carriers are going to be really, really interesting to play. The torpedo bombers, I think, are going to be a lot more effective. And I also read that I think that Japanese squadrons, they're going to have an increased number of squadrons, but they're going to have less planes per squadron. So once again, they're really differentiating. It's not like each nation has the same thing at each tier. There's going to be differences that you're going to have to account for and use to your advantage or play differently in order to kind of hide some of your disadvantages when dealing with other ships of your same tier, etc., etc. So that should be pretty cool. Now you can see how you go from these Aichi D3A2 dive bombers. Let's mount those. Let's mount those bad boys. Where are they? Dive bombers. Look at those bad boys. Alright, and so then you go to these Yokosuka D4A2s. And we'll check them out again. Just kind of the differences here. These almost look like, for half a second, like they kind of look like Kitty Hawks to me. But hey, that's me, right? So basically overall, you can pause it and basically check out how you go from the B5N2 torpedo bombers to the B6N2s. It looks like you have what? Increase in cruise speed and increase in survivability overall. What is interesting overall to aircraft carriers they are adding is that once a squadron drops its bombs or torpedoes and then is heading back to its home carrier, they will fly faster. Now that does make sense, but they have added it to the game. So I think overall it'll be fun to kind of see how that plays in and how maybe carriers will have an increased ability to kind of have, more action to kind of make them more competitive and maybe more people playing them. So you've got 3 different modifications you can see here. This one has 1 fighter squadron, 2 torpedo bombers, and 2 bombers. You can go pretty much very well balanced with 2 fighters, 2 torpedo bombers, and 2 dive bombers. And then you can go all attack, which is basically 3 torpedo bombers and 3 dive bombers. Yeah, I was gonna say something about the B-25s on aircraft carriers, but that'll never happen. That's just me musing. Like, I wonder if we're ever gonna see a different kind of class of, basically aircraft on carriers, and I just don't think we are. Although, if scouting was a really big part in the game, you might see kind of those seaplane tenders, but that is a discussion for another day. So you can see how when you go from the 41 to the 43 hull refit, you increase the number of anti-aircraft gun mounts. Pretty good, actually. And then 1944 here. Ugh. Man, a little indigestion. But, what do we got going on, man? Increase in anti-aircraft ability once again, and maneuverability. So overall, the anti-aircraft ability on these, 52 for a tier 8. I'm just gonna casually check out because Americans generally tend to be better at defending against the air. So we'll go to the tier 18 Lexington. Anti-aircraft is at 68 compared to 54, and that's just at 42. Let's go the 44 hull refit, 85. And that looks like an armored flight deck to me, ladies and gentlemen. Is that metal or is it just like painted wood? You never know. I don't know. You aircraft experts out there, aircraft carrier experts, let me know. But yeah, that's just how Japanese aircraft carriers are usually faster and slimmer, so they'll be a little less well armed. I think those are going to be great carriers that kind of sail with a group of ships if you can kind of coordinate with other people. But back to the Japanese Shokaku, the top tier. So now we'll go drop down to tier 8 real quick and check it out. But this is the top tier right now. No Shinano yet. And let's see, actually. Is the Horyu in here? Huh. Weird. Anyway, Hosho. Let's check it out. Tier 4. You've got 2 different versions. You've got 3 squadrons already. This one, you can get 3 torpedo bombers and drop your fighter squadron right here. So let's do that real quick. Let's just check them out. You can't upgrade. You've got the Mitsubishi 1MTs. Look at these little triplane torpedo bombers, man. The tryhards, as it were. This is awesome. Look how funny these things look, man. This is so cool for 1939. It's kind of funny how they pick, but you know, that's kind of what you gotta do when you have these upgrade systems and the different tiers and everything like that. Triplanes, guys. That's so crazy. And they've got this one greatly increasing, not greatly, but decently increasing anti-aircraft gun abilities. You go from 10, not very good. So you kind of need to be a little fast, more maneuverable, because I feel like these are going to be, wow, check that out. This one's obviously built off a cruiser hull. Got these fun little guns in the front there. We got 4 140mm guns sticking off the side of this thing. You can see one there, one on each side right there, and then 2 in the front. It'd be cool if you could control those, but you know, like when destroyers come in, man, don't you hate that when you're a carrier and like there's a destroyer who just sneaks through and is like, I'm gonna kill me some carriers. But that is the Hosho 1941. Pause it if you want to see any of the statistics right there. And then we're gonna go to Zuiho here. And you've got 3 different hull refits to go through. You've got upgrades for your fighters and your dive bombers here. The D1A ones to D1A2s. Nakajima B3N torpedo bombers. 99 knots. Maximum torpedo damage, 5,900. I wish we could get a little more information on these torpedoes. Which torpedoes they're using, how far they can be used, or like fired. So here, once again, like tier 5, you've already got, what, 4 squadrons. And I think we're going to be upgraded maybe... Nope, just 4 overall. But 1 squadron of fighters, 2 torpedo bombers, and 1 bombers. Or alternatively, you could go 3 torpedo bombers and 1 bomber. So you can see how a lot of these Japanese carriers can get really offensive really quickly. And this one also looks kind of, it's based off a cruiser hull to me. Is that just me? They all look like cruiser hulls to me. Close that. Alright. So, Zuiho 1942, you can see how you're increasing your survivability by a little bit, by 1,000 hit points, and then 6 more anti-aircraft gun mounts. So we'll take a look at that. Remember, guys, a lot of you are going to be like, why didn't you cover all the stats? Trust me, all the stats were there, you just got to pause. This is kind of cursory. If we covered all the stats, we'd be here for like hours. And some of you guys would love that, I know that much. Look how just beautiful these planes look, man. White and red. And this beautiful flight deck, especially in the back here. Oh, man. Land of the rising sun right there, guys. So that's the 1942. I actually want to... Did it get nice and beautiful right after that? It kind of always was. Really nice. We weren't looking at that ass. So now the 1944 hull refit. Looks like we increased anti-aircraft gun mounts again and maneuverability overall. Are there really any? Yeah, other than that. So that is tier 5 Zuiho. Man. It's got the... Oh, wait a minute. Are these doubles now? Wow, they totally changed that up. Interesting. I love all the differences that they're adding. Oh, that was the other ship. I was still thinking we were looking at Hosho. Herpa derp, ladies and gents. So now, Ryujo. What a funny looking ship from the front. Compared to like American carriers, man, there's definitely a difference in style. Those American carriers, I think, look a little better. But so you can see how once again we upgrade the dive bombers to D1A2s to D3A1s. Fighters, there's an upgrade. A4Ns to A5M2s. And B3N torpedo bombers here to the B4Ys. Look at these little fighters. Oh, these are the dive bombers, the D3A1s. I love it. Finally starting to see some monoplanes, both in the fighters and the dive bombers back there. Torpedo bombers, still these big old biplanes. Wait a minute. These are the D3A1s. Nope. Anyway. I'm losing my damn mind. Let's take a look. It's been a while. So 1939 hull refit looks like increasing survivability and anti-aircraft gun mounts. Nothing really new here. Ooh. Looks nice in the front, man. Added some guns. Let's take a look at that. It changes. See right here? Not a whole lot going on. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get attacked by other planes. Let's do something about it. But you can really see the difference up here, man. And it's really cool now looking. These little superstructures elevated off the deck of the ship. I wonder what the doctrine, maybe splash? I don't really know. I'm no carrier architect, designer. But, and then you've got your 1944 hull refit, increasing anti-aircraft guns by 4 overall. Man, this thing's pretty. And, yep, so you got your fighters. The little A5Ms, torpedo bombers in the middle here. And then you have your D3A1s. Look at how big the wingspan is, like how thick they are. So you've got 3 different modifications. You can go 1 fighter, 2 torpedo bombers, 1 bomber. You can go kind of upgraded here, where you get an increased dive bomber, or you can go all attack. Tora on the enemy right here, with 3 torpedo bombers and 2 dive bombers. I don't know, I just want to kill ships when I'm in a carrier, and I feel like I always just stack up my offensive aircraft power as opposed to going like heavily defensive. But it doesn't look like very many Japanese carriers can go high defensive like some of the American carriers can, which is pretty interesting to see that. So now we're going to tier 7 Hiryu. Oh man, now that is a nice looking carrier right there. Flight deck going all the way to the end, or almost to the end rather. And we've got the D3A2 dive bombers. We've got A6M2s. So you can go from A5M2s to A6M2s. B4Y torpedo bombers to the B5N2 torpedo bombers. D3A1s to D3A2s. And you've got 1 hull refit that increases your anti-aircraft gun mounts and your maneuverability. Notice how there's no increase in survivability or hit points. But we'll take a look, see if there's any kind of visual difference here. Look at these Japanese flight decks, man. Please drop bombs here. But, yep, so 3 different mods. You've got 5 squadrons stock. Then you upgrade to 6, which is the more balanced, 2 of each, fighter, torpedo bomber, and dive bomber. And then there's the Tora, which is 3 torpedo bombers and 3 dive bombers on the Hiryu. So, man, tell you what, there definitely is. See, I'll show you real quick. American carrier doctrine is a little different. Let's just take a look at the Tier 8 Lexington and the mods that you can get. Kind of more fighters. There's only 4, notice this. The Japanese definitely have more squadrons, but they're going to have less planes per squadron. So that, once again, is another difference. Then you go here, and it's fighters and dive bombers. Or you can go 1 torpedo bomber and 3 squadrons. Which was the one? There's one of them, I know, that you could, maybe it's the Independence. You could go all fighters. Maybe they changed it. Is it just me? But look at that. Yeah, Tier 6. Stock 3 squadrons, and then you move up to just 3 again. 3 squadrons at Tier 6. Japanese-wise, maybe they changed that so you couldn't go. Huh. Interesting. So Tier 6 will go to the Ryujo. Yeah, you've got a lot more fighter squadrons. 5 for a Tier 6 ship. That is pretty impressive. So if you like swarms of planes, the Japanese carriers are where it's going to be at. So now we'll kind of end off in the Shokaku, which we showed at the beginning. And there is a new American carrier, as well as 1 American carrier was taken out. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I wonder if, like, if you unlocked it, if they're going to take those out and you don't get them again. I guess everything gets wiped in closed beta tests. So maybe in the future, once it's an open beta, there'll be the tanks, or, you know, like how in World of Tanks, there's tanks that are discontinued and stuff like that. But yeah, so D3A2s to D4Y2s, B5N2s to B6Ns, A6M2s to A7M1s. Got 3 different hull refits here. And I'm doing this in case you wanted to pause. And then you've got the 3 different modifications. And I like calling Mod 2 here the Tora, because it's all attack, no defense, because fighters are defense as far as, like, you know, the different ways to play carriers in World of Warships at the moment. So that is all of the Japanese carriers. We're going to look at American carriers now, because you're going to notice one thing. And first and foremost, that is that they removed the Saipan but added the Independence. And look at the maneuverability on the Independence. Holy crap. 95? Sorry, I just gotta see that. And the concealment's pretty ridiculous. 32 knot speed. My God. Independence, you are doing what, mate? And then concealment. Let's take a look at that. Wait a minute. Did I read that? Maybe it's 1945? Huh. What were we looking at? Okay, was I hovering over something else? That is not the case. It doesn't have that. I don't know what we were hovering over, what it thought we were hovering over for a second. Anyway, so Independence is now in the game and Saipan is not. False alarm, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, so we're going to kind of just briefly go over the Independence. If you wanted to be like, well, what happened to my Saipan? What's the difference? I'll hover over these things to kind of show you the differences. And, but then they added the Bogue. And I think that was what, Tier 5? Yeah, Tier 5, you can see right there. F3Fs, woo! 2 hull refits, looks like number of aircraft is increased, artillery is increased, and aircraft, a lot is done on the Independence from 1944 to 1945. You can do well balanced with only 3 squadrons, or more defensively with 2 squadrons of fighters, or the more attack. But that is interesting. So let's take a look at the Bogue, because this is the new carrier right now. Look at this cute little thing. Get up off that thing. Huh. Time for you feel better. Look at how short and snubby this cute little thing is. So it can only carry 2 squadrons, and even fully upgraded, you guess you get up to 3 here. So we'll just see how much of the flight deck is covered by these planes once it's 3 squadrons. Not showing a lot. But, yeah. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Bogue. And you can see the anti-aircraft, the upgrade is huge. Anti-aircraft guns go up a lot. Your number of squadrons and aircraft obviously goes up. Let's take a look. I think you get a couple more planes per squadron. Is it? Is the case? I hate how it does that. Keep my same frame of reference. Looks the same to me. But F6C1s to F4Bs. These are funny. These are planes I've like. A lot of these I've never even seen in War Thunder. At the lower tiers, they're like, what are these things? You know? I don't even know. I ain't even supposed to be in here. But, so, yeah, overall, the other additions to aircraft carriers are the fact that they have removed the Saipan, added the Independence. There's the Bogue for Tier 5, as you can see right here. We've got Japanese carriers. And then overall are the huge, or not huge, but pretty distinctive differences between American carriers and how they're going to play, and Japanese carriers and how they are going to play. Should be pretty interesting. Returning planes, after they have dropped their ordnance, whether it be bombs or torpedoes, will fly faster back to the home carrier. And they've increased the flight ranges and flight patterns of recon planes. So that will be pretty cool. And I think they changed it. Obviously, well, it won't really matter as much for carrier-based dive bombers, but for torpedoes fired from destroyers, they're going to be a little more difficult to see from planes in the sky. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank y'all for watching. Let me know which of all of these really awesome new Japanese carriers you're looking forward to playing the most. What do you think is going to fit in at Tier 9, Tier 10? Let me know. Share the video with a friend. Pull the trigger on the like button. I thank y'all guys for watching. I love to hear your feedback and kind of see which carrier everyone's looking forward to, and like the whole American versus Japanese carrier debate. I hope that kind of starts in the comment section so we can kind of see, you know, all the theories that people have based off of experience in closed beta test, and as well as just like historical context and stuff like that. So here you can see them: Hosho, Zuiho, Ryujo, Hiryu, and Shokaku. No Shinano yet, and I think it was the Horyu. I think that's one of the carriers I thought, and I was just kind of surprised to see that one not in here. I have to look that up again. I'm not an expert on Japanese carriers, but tell you what, it's pretty cool. And then you've got the Independence changed for the Saipan, and the Bogue added to be between Tier 4 and Tier 6. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the new Japanese and American aircraft carriers. So thank you guys for watching. I'll be seeing you soon. Alright, so it looks like we do have access to the Tier 9 and Tier 10 Japanese carriers, despite the fact that they are not on the tech tree. I think right now you just can't take them out to battle. So here we have the Tier 9 Tai-Ho. So let's check out the old modules here. Just overall, looks like we have a 1944 and a 1945 hull refit. This thing looks bad to the bone. Check these out. We've got J7Ws, the good old push planes in the back, because they got the propellers in the rear. These things are armed pretty well with cannons. So you've got N1Ks, and then you can upgrade them to the J7W1s, B6Ns, to B7A1s for the torpedo bombers. Then dive bombers, you've got D4Y2s to the D4Y3s, and you've got 3 different modifications you can have as far as like which squadrons you want to take out. This one's 6 squadrons overall for the Tier 9, 2 of each: fighters, torpedo bombers, and bombers. Then you've got Mod Type 3, which it looks like it increases your dive bomber. And then do we have a Tora? Yes, we do. We've got 4 torpedo bombers in 3 dive bomber squadrons. Can you imagine the sheer amount of firepower that you're going to have? Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to have to take this out. So, and then you've got the 1944 hull and then the 1945 hull refit. Your anti-aircraft ability goes up a lot. You can see right now you have an anti-aircraft ability of 36. And it looks like your increased hit points by 1,000. But let's take a look at this. You go up to 52 on anti-aircraft gun rating right now. So let's mount it and take a look at this bad boy. After that, just on the sides, all these guns right here. Holy crap. And it looks like those are the, yep, there you go. You've got these 100mm guns, which are dual purpose, so if destroyers and cruisers getting close, at least you can kind of feel good about the fact that you can shoot at them while you try to dodge the torpedoes. So, and then we've got the tier 10 Hakuryu. How'd I do? I tried my best. I tried my best. So this is the tier 10 Hakuryu. And, oh my goodness, we've got twin engines on here. We got twin engine bombers on here, guys. We've got, oh my gosh, Nakajima J5N1s. So these are the dive bombers, huh? And then, wow. Then the R2Y1s. Jeez. The planes on this thing, man. The R2s. Look at this. With little props. This is the R2Y2s were the jet-powered versions. And then you've got these J5Ns. Where are those bad boys? Where are you at? Show me. Show me them. Oh, but this is a modification where it's just the Tora. Okay. Yep. So, oh my goodness. At an astounding 7 squadrons of fighters. And then 8? Holy crap. 8 squadrons of fighters, guys. And then there's the Tora. 5 torpedo bombers and 3 bombers. Can you imagine? That is absolutely nuts. We just got to compare that. So 8 squadrons. Now we're going to check out the American Essex. We've only got the tier 9 Essex. It doesn't look like there's a tier 10 down here. The most squadrons you can have is 5. Good lord. But see, the thing about it is the squadrons, you have more squadrons for Japanese carriers, but you have less planes per squadron in the Japanese. So, and I think that'll give Americans will kind of have to play a more dominant, like we need to shoot down all of the enemy Japanese planes. So maybe a more defensive strategy would work better. But I tell you what, man, that's some interesting stuff. But I did see that, and I realized I just had to cover it before I get back to playing my battleships. Oh my gosh, I played some Montana, and it is just awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just love it, guys. There's so many new things to play. I don't even know what to do, ladies and gentlemen. But thank y'all for watching. Pull the trigger on the like button. Share the video, friend. And check out the channel because we're going to have a lot of fun stuff happening.